Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to episode 134 of the Story Stream. It is a beautiful, crisp fall day where I am. Crisp enough for me to wear my sweater. I could not have done this on Friday. It is my favorite time of year. I very much enjoy the cooler weather. The office, you may not be able to tell, but the office is clean, or cleaner. I spent a large part of the weekend dusting everything, and also in this area, which you can't quite see, I had a lot of papers, a great number of unsorted papers, and those are all sorted now. So I am feeling pretty pleased. How are you? I hope wherever you are, if your spaces are messy, you're finding ways to make them feel good to you. Let's get started with today's story. We are picking up the story we started last week of 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago? Anyways, the story we started in episode 132, the story of Joe Cabbage and our newest citizen of Food City, Franklin Apple, who we almost named Frimblepants Apple on the suggestion of a young viewer, but the name Frimblepants belongs to someone else, and I didn't feel right taking it. So let's see where we are. Before I go any further, I need to warn you. On Friday, this camera froze towards the end of the episode. I don't know when, how, or why it did, and it did again today, just before I came online. So there's a chance we may have some technical difficulties today. If we do, I apologize. I'll do my best to fix them on the fly. Are you ready? Here we go. We started with the words, "Door, cabbage, accept, and calm," and we started writing a story about Joe Cabbage, but then we decided to make it about someone else who you'll meet in a few pages. Joe Cabbage lived in the Ginger Root apartment buildings. Every morning he would walk down from his room and out the front door. He would stand on the top step, put on his hat, take a deep breath, and say to himself, "What fun things will happen today?" Next door to Joe Cabbage lived Franklin Apple. Franklin Apple would leave his apartment, walk down the stairs, put on his shoes, and say, "What terrible things are out there today?" Franklin Apple was a pessimist. Where Franklin Apple walked, a dark cloud followed. His sour face made others feel as if bad things were in store. Lily P. was setting up chicken Storytime in the park when Franklin walked by. "I can't believe you're going to read outdoors in this weather," he said. "If it rains, your books will be ruined and you'll all get sore throats." There was only a single cloud in the sky, but somehow the chickens all suddenly had to be somewhere else. Lily was not impressed. Across town, Pablo Pepper was setting up his paints to begin another exciting project. Franklin walked by and said, "I don't know how you do it. I'd be worried this mural would turn out worse than your last one." You know what? He's not going to say turn out worse. He'll say wouldn't turn out as good as your last one. Pablo lost his nerve and packed up his things and went home. At the end of the day, Joe Cabbage and Franklin Apple usually met at the front door to their apartment. "How was your day, Franklin?" asked Joe. "Not great," muttered Franklin as he headed up the stairs. "Storytime was canceled and I never got to ask Pablo if I could help him paint." That night, Joe Cabbage lied in bed and thought about his neighbor. "Franklin needs help," said Joe. He thought for a while. Suddenly, an idea hit him. Joe hopped out of bed and got to work. The next morning, when Franklin came down the stairs, he found a sign waiting for him. It read, "Don't look up." And that is where we left off on Friday. Hey, I'm glad to see this camera still working. All right, so as you can see in that sketch, we have Joe in ambush of Franklin. And we're about to pick up our story. Where this was my idea. My idea was that, especially because related to the fact that we start the story with Joe Cabbage putting on his hat. Joe Cabbage is going to give Franklin a hat, and this hat is going to serve as a reminder for him to not be so pessimistic. Let's see. How do we want to draw this? So we have Franklin. Oh, right, we need to draw this hat I was talking about. What was I thinking? Maybe kind of like a fancy big cowboy hat, but I wanted it to say something. Where's my eraser? It's a hat that says yes. You know, I like that Franklin has these little speckles on him. All right, the next morning when Franklin came down the stairs, he found a sign waiting for him. "Don't look up," Franklin read. A moment later, something fell on his head. "Good morning, Franklin." It was Joe. he had made a hat for Franklin. I wonder if this hat should have any other special things about it. I was thinking about you last night, said Joe, and I had the idea your days might go more smoothly. I think maybe that hat should be a surprise. I don't see how a hat can help. All right, we need to make a decision here in a second. The next time someone asks you a question, just point at your hat. So I'm thinking that either, it's a big stack of books behind me. I'm thinking that, you couldn't see it when I was, well, I guess you could see it when I was leaning back. I'm thinking that the hat either should say yes, and when someone like Lily P says, Franklin, would you like to take part in Storytime? He would have to point at it and say yes. But there's no surprise there. What if the hat had like a string on it, and when someone says, whether it's Lily P or Pablo Pepper, they say, hey, Franklin, would you like to help? He pulls the string, and then maybe it explodes into confetti with a loud yes. That would be more fun. Where would the string be? I guess like this, maybe? You know, actually, this one I'm going to keep that yes on there. Just for now, just because I like this sketch a lot. If I want to, I can change it later. Ba, 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 ba. I pull the string and my days will be better. Said Franklin. I guarantee it, said Joe. We also need to set up the fact earlier in the story that Franklin maybe complains or says no a lot. I don't want him saying no, but maybe he could at least. Joining us today, Franklin? Asked Lily. Joining us today, Franklin? Asked Lily. Not in this weather, replied Franklin. If it rains, your books will be ruined, and we'll all get sore throats. There was only a single cloud in the sky, but somehow the chickens all suddenly had to be somewhere else. Across town, Pablo Pepper was setting up his paints to begin another exciting project. I have an extra brush. Said Pablo. Would you like to help? I don't know, said Franklin. What if we mess something up? That would be terribly embarrassing. Pablo lost his nerve, packed up his things. It would. Sighed Pablo. He lost his nerve, packed up his things, and went home. All right. So now we know Franklin has trouble replying positively. So we have chicken story time. We have Pablo painting a mural. What else could Joe and Franklin run into? Wait, let's see if we can do this. I caught a rainbow. I did it better the first time. Ready, set. I can't. It's moving. All right. That's procrastination. Let's carry on with our story. What can they do next? What else do we have in Food City? We have Jimmy Donut, who makes movies. We have Eric Strawberry, who enjoys building things. We haven't seen Eric in a long time. Could meet Eric. We have Harvey Potato, who runs the movie theater. You know, we need to put together a list of all our Food City characters. That would actually be really fun to do. I pull the string and my days will be better, said Franklin. I guarantee it, said Joe. At Horseshoe Park. The two friends ran into I want some mayhem. We have the chickens already, so we can't make a chicken stampede. But who else? Let's introduce something new into our town. Hello and thanks for joining. I see a viewer has joined the stream. We are in Food City today with our friends Joe Cabbage and Franklin Apple. They are at a park about to run into some sort of event, but what event it is, we're not sure. I'm hoping it's something that can become, through a small mishap, become exciting. Something like a llama parade, or some kind of creature that might stampede. Any ideas? If you have an idea, let me know. How about we go with llamas for now? But who's hosting this llama parade? We could have a new friend. Well, you know what? We haven't seen Eric Strawberry in a while. Let's... But what is he doing? What we know about Eric Strawberry is that he enjoys building. The last time we saw him in a Food City story, he was building a sandcastle. Well, he might have other interests. Let's have him... thinking that maybe Eric here has... Maybe he has a flock of singing birds. I could, there's that rainbow again. That's it. Okay, ready, set? Nope. I am putting off deciding. I'm having a hard time imagining what would go here. Now, if any one of my usual visitors were here, what would they suggest? I don't know. I need Lucy here. I think Lucy would shine right now. You know, we'll go with this bird idea. We can always change it. At Horseshoe Park, the two friends ran into Eric Strawberry. He was leading Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Franklin. Good morning, Eric, said Joe. How's rehearsal? Great. Now, I don't think Eric would invite someone to lead the band, but he might say, would you like to hear a song? Franklin was worried the birdsong might attract a wild panther. But he didn't say so. Don't say anything, just pull that string. I like this idea of a wild panther. Franklin pulled the string. His hat exploded in a burst of confetti, streamers, pow! His hat exploded in a burst of confetti, streamers, and balloon letters. The word yes above his head. Franklin, Joe, and Eric all jumped. The parakeets should they faint? I think fainting's funnier, but maybe a little scary too. They should either faint or fly away. We could have one of those cascading events where things get wilder and wilder. The parakeets could fly and maybe start a stampede of llamas, and the whole thing could wind up downtown. But then it would be really great if the yes hat could stop everybody to wrap it up. But maybe we don't do that though. Also, are there wild panthers in Food City? Because the hat could scare away a wild panther. But I don't imagine there being panthers in Food City. Oh. Hello. That's a little tiny hello written by my son with a brush pen. And I love his handwriting. And I like that greeting. I mentioned cleaning up my papers. That's what I found when I cleaned up my papers. Along with many other things, including the story I was working on a few years ago. 2016. 5 years ago. Holy guacamole. Here we go. The parakeets all fainted. How many parakeets do we have on there to begin with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 8, 11, 13. It's an unlucky number. Let's get one more in there. How about a little guy? Baby parakeet. Some are mad at being startled. Some are just dizzy. Maybe a few flew away. Here we'll have Eric nursing one. We're sorry, Eric, said Joe. What can we do to make it right? Asked Franklin. I don't want to make Eric sound rude, but I wanted to say something like, you can leave because we need some peace and quiet. We were about to take a break anyway. But maybe you could take that hat somewhere else. Well, what now? They've ruined a Parakeet concert. Maybe now they could. New pencil. Let's sketch and get an idea. We haven't done that in a while. Let's see. I was thinking about llamas. Wait, how did I draw that hat? Looks like I've forgotten how to draw my hat, or draw the hat. Still doesn't feel right. Oh well. I have to admit, I do like these new friends. Oh, look who's here. Let's say hello to Shasta, who's come to check on us. Hello, Shasta. Which means also that it's nearing 5 o'clock. Let's maybe finish another page or two and then we'll sign off for today. Where was I? Well, what do you think? Should we have a llama stampede? Our friend Sydney Squash. No. Who was it? The duck expert. Decided to become an expert in something else, I think. Ostriches? Was that the ostrich story? I think it was. All right, let's go with llamas for now, but... how about a new friend? Anyone want to ride a llama? Asked Lee. Joe nudged Franklin. Not on your life, said Franklin. To the llama, the hat looked delicious. To the llama, the hat looked delicious. It grabbed the string. It bit the string and pulled. Pow! The hat exploded once more. Let's see. Well, I think we will end with the llamas running, but I'm not certain that is where we want to take the story. But let's do that for now. And we'll pick up on Wednesday and decide. We'll do a whole read through. Actually, let's do a read through right now. And then I'll wish you a good evening. Here we go. Joe Cabbage lived in the Ginger Root apartment building. Every morning he would walk down from his room and out the front door. He would stand on the top step, put on his hat, take a deep breath, and say to himself, "What fun things will happen today?" Next door to Joe Cabbage lived Franklin Apple. Franklin Apple would leave his apartment, walk down the stairs, put on his shoes, and mutter, "What terrible things are going to happen today?" Franklin Apple was a pessimist. Where Franklin Apple walked, a dark cloud followed. His sour face made others feel as if bad things were in store. Lily P. was setting up chicken story time in the park. In Blueberry Park, when Franklin walked by. "Joining us today, Franklin?" asked Lily. "Not in this weather," replied Franklin. "If it rains, we'll all get sore throats." There was only a single cloud in the sky, but somehow the chickens all suddenly had to be somewhere else. Lily was not impressed. Across town, Pablo Pepper was setting up his paints to begin another exciting project. "I have an extra brush," said Pablo. "Would you like to help?" "I don't know," said Franklin. "What if we mess something up? That would be terribly embarrassing." "It would," sighed Pablo. He lost his nerve, packed up his things, and went home. At the end of the day, Joe Cabbage and Franklin Apple met at their apartment. "How was your day, Franklin?" asked Joe. "Not great," muttered Franklin as he headed up the stairs. "Storytime was canceled, and I never got to ask Pablo if I could help him paint." That night, Joe Cabbage lied in bed and thought about his neighbor. "Franklin needs help," said Joe. He thought for a while. Suddenly, an idea hit him. Joe hopped out of bed and got to work. The next morning, when Franklin came down the stairs, he found a sign waiting for him. "Don't look up," Franklin read. A moment later, something fell on his head. "Good morning, Franklin." It was Joe. He had made a hat for Franklin. I was thinking about you last night, said Joe, and I had the idea your days might be more fun if you wore this hat. Now, I don't see how a hat can help, said Franklin. The next time someone asks you a question, don't say anything. Just pull that string. The string will make my days better, said Franklin. Guaranteed, said Joe. At Horseshoe Park, the two friends ran into Eric Strawberry. He was leading the Parakeet Orchestra. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Franklin, said Eric. Good morning, Eric, said Joe. How's rehearsal? Great, said Eric. Would you like to hear a song? Franklin was worried the bird song might attract a wild panther, but he didn't say so. He just pulled the string. Pow! The hat exploded in a burst of confetti, streamers, and balloon letters. The word yes floated proudly above his head. Franklin, Joe, and Eric all jumped. The parakeets all fainted. We're sorry, Eric, said Joe. What can we do to make it right? Asked Franklin. We were about to take a break anyway, said Eric, but maybe you two could take that hat somewhere else. Joe and Franklin walked on. Across the park, Joe and Franklin, they ran into Lee Bean. Anyone want to ride a llama? Asked Lee. Joe nudged Franklin. Not on your life, said Franklin. This hat is nothing but trouble. But to the llama, the hat looked delicious. It bit the string and pulled. Pow! The hat exploded once more. Exploded once again. And that's it for episode 134 of the Story Stream. What will happen to our two friends, this hat and the park at large? We'll find out on Wednesday. So until then, take care and be well. See you soon.